A scathing new UN report warning of a climate catastrophe has environmental groups here in Toronto sounding the alarm about greenhouse gas emissions and severe weather patterns. They say Toronto's current climate strategy isn't getting enough funding and that leadership needs to take it more seriously. When the rain came pounding down this summer, stranding cars, toppling trees and power lines, flooding buildings and homes, many questioned whether or not this city has the infrastructure it needs to cope with severe storms.
These things have a real cost.
With greenhouse gas emissions forcing global temperatures to rise at an alarming rate, the Toronto Environmental Alliance says weather patterns are only going to get worse, more expensive, and the city's current plan doesn't address or fund the important problem of resiliency.
So that's really, what green infrastructure do we need, how we need to change our roads, our pipelines, all that kind of stuff to respond to climate change and the impacts.
What the city's climate strategy plan Transform TO does do is set these clear targets to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. Already they are on track to meet that first target, but meeting the 2050 goal will be difficult.
For sure it will be, but it's not impossible.
The city says it recently faced a funding setback when the province cut the cap and trade program.
The other part that we lost was support. I think it was as crucial for us to have all three levels of government supporting the notion of a lower carbon future. That's key to moving forward.
Both mayoral candidates have pledged their support. Mayor Tory's campaign telling CityNews in a statement that the mayor championed Transform TO, Toronto's climate change strategy, and fully funded it, which supports projects like green retrofits to Toronto's community housing and building communities that produce net zero emissions. His opponent, Jennifer Keesmaat, says more needs to be done.
Part of it has to do with how we plan and design the city, getting rid of the old 1950s infrastructure and creating a truly walkable urban city in every corner of our city. And a really big part of that is planting more trees, planning for flooding and water. We haven't been doing this, but we can be doing it.
Fighting the three major emissions producers, buildings, waste, and transportation, the key.
There's significant scope for reducing our footprint by switching to more sustainable modes of transportation like public transit and biking and walking. The grid that we have for cycling is very minimal in Toronto. There's a lot of places where there are gaps in the network where it's really not safe to bike, and we know that many more people would bike if we had a safe, connected network of protected bike lanes in Toronto.
We can't be just talk on this issue. We need leaders who are actually going to commit to funding and making sure implementation takes place.
While the city insists that the climate strategy plan has been fully funded to date, the Toronto Environmental Alliance showed me budget figures disputing that. They say that only a third of the $1.6 million was allocated in its first year. We did reach out to the city with that number, but they didn't get back to us before airtime.